It's the drawing class time again.
Woo!
Hello. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Hold on. Hello, everyone. Ignore that little bit of secret sleepover UI you just saw. This is not that.
Wow.
This is not that.
There was a little bit of a false start.
This is different. This is Drawfee.
This is different. This is Drawfee. This is what you paid for.
I don't even know those people over there at Secret. What is it? Secret Society? Secret Pillow? I don't know what it is.
I think it's
Secret Pillow.
Oh, Yam Stew for
Secret
Gamers.
Pillow.
Thank you, Julia. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Secret Pillow.
Oh, Jamie, I'm sorry that I stole your thunder with the announcement. I just saw that there was like nobody in here and I panicked. I was like, am I going to be teaching myself? I already know this. That's why I'm teaching it.
I don't know anything.
But now people are in here, so it's all good. How's everybody doing on this special Friday? Special Draw Class Friday.
Drawclass Friday. Woo! Trying to get my mic as far away from my loud computer as possible.
Thank you, Nathan, for this treat. And thank you to all of you for freaking subscribing at the Draw Class level. We appreciate your support. And because of that support, you get these bonus instructions early.
Bonus instructions early.
Yeah, Jamie, you can announce again in the announcements channel. Why not?
Double announce.
Let's announce all we want to. Who's gonna stop us?
Not me.
We own it. No one can tell us
ours.
now. It's ours.
It's ours.
So today we are going to be doing facial expressions. One of my favorite things to draw and learn about.
One of my favorite things to see you draw.
Thank you, Nathan. Coming from a webcomics background, it was often like the crux of the comic was dependent on selling the facial expression. And I feel like it can really make or break a piece depending on what you're going for. And I think there's some really easy stuff you can do to up your facial expression game. And I'm going to tell you about that stuff live.
I'm so excited.
Live on the internet.
I feel like I've gleaned some of it just from watching you do it, but definitely would appreciate you also explaining it.
I'm going to break it all down.
Break it down.
I'm going to break all of you down and build you back up. What the heck? That's a halftone brush.
That's a cool brush.
Step 1, don't use halftones to draw faces. It's going to be very difficult to make out what's going on.
That one's free. That's just a freebie.
Yeah, that's a freebie. Get everything ready here. So I've got a bit of an outline for things to go over, and then we will go through all that. And then if anyone has any like questions or specific things they want addressed, we can do some of that at the end of the stream.
Great.
That's it. Let's have a nice time. Let me get up my notes here. So the first thing I wanted to start with here, and also just to clarify right out the gate, this is not going to be a facial anatomy lesson. So like as far as where everything's supposed to go and all that, I feel like we've done that already in Draw Class. This is not that. This is just expression only.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for,
if you want the face rune, that was like the first one. Julia did the face rune, right?
Yeah, Julia did the face rune already, so this is not going to be that. This is going to be solely about making and like selling these facial expressions. And it starts with what I have dubbed, as I wrote my notes, the 4 pillars of facial expression.
Ooh!
There's 4 important facets that are adjustable to make infinite expressions. And they are as follows. Number 1, eyebrows.
Yep.
Number 2, eyelids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Number 3, the mouth.
Mouth.
And number 4, the I'm gonna say the placement slash like head tilt. Placement slash tilt. Like where you orient everything in relation to each other and the head itself. So there's a way that I like to practice these things and also to demonstrate them, which is what I like to...
It does kind of look like you wrote eyelids.
To own the eyelids. Burning my underwear to own the eyelids.
Poopying my pants to own the eyelids.
No. Where did my freaking thing go? Here we go. So this sort of like method of practice, I kind of think of it as almost like a character creator style of practice.
Yeah.
Where we're like adjusting sliders basically to see how it affects what the expression looks like. So we'll start with sort of like a neutral face. We're just going to get some eyes on here that are kind of normal looking. The nose is kind of less important in general, so I'm just going to leave it out for now. And we'll get just sort of a straight across mouth. If I could do a straight across mouth. Good enough.
Yeah. It's that artist instinct. Everything has to be a little bit on the diagonal. No perfectly horizontal lines.
Yeah, exactly. So this is something I like to do to demonstrate just how much you can change how an expression feels by only adjusting one of these elements.
I love that.
At a time. So we'll start with eyebrows, right? If we go sort of straight across with the eyebrows, it completes this neutral expression.
Yep.
If we take the eyebrows and we tilt them, curve them up like this.
Oh, he's a little trepidatious.
Now he's trepidatious. It's a neutral, concerned expression. We take the eyebrows and we angle them down like this. Now he's getting frustrated.
He's a little frustrated.
Yeah.
A little too many dishes in the sink for his taste.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the kind of thing where all that's changing is these lines.
Yeah.
Nothing else on the face changes, but it reads entirely differently. I think the eyebrows are truly the most powerful expression-making tool in your arsenal as an artist. Because there's even more we can do with it. What if we go like up in an arch? Now we have surprised neutral. You've just come home and your roommate, you weren't expecting to see your roommate in their underwear on the couch.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm trying to maintain a composed face, but I am surprised.
You just typed shat instead of chat.
You typed shat instead of chat, and you're like,
for example.
For example.
Well, just hypothetically.
So yeah, these are kind of the basics, and then you have like other curves, like this one I really like, where it goes up and then down and then up again.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of concerned, but also like a little sad, sort of is this really? And you can add even like more wrinkles in and stuff like that to sort of really sell it. You can do it with, if you tilt them down a bit, you can get kind of a evil, like ringleader type of eyebrow appearance.
Oh yeah.
And so then as we like go through these different shapes and what they do, we can combine number 1 here with number 4, the placement. So this makes a huge difference too. If we go back to our neutral eyebrows that are kind of just like this. Now what if we take them and we just slide them down?
Oh yeah.
Same eyebrows, but now it's a little more quizzical, a little more frustrated. Like, what? Like, is this really what you're doing?
Yeah, maybe before it was like, I'm irritated, but I'm not gonna talk to my roommate just yet.
Yeah, that's up here, and then suddenly you're like, okay,
we need to have a conversation.
Okay, we need to have a conversation. This is clearly becoming an issue.
Yeah.
And then you can go higher with them to give more of a surprised take on the expression. And this,
like, what he actually did the dishes today.
It's like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting it, but And it's the thing to keep in mind is like if you look at like a full human face and all of the myriad expressions it's capable of making, it looks really complicated. There's a lot going on in terms of face muscles and facial structures, and it's easy to get wrapped up and lost in the weeds in trying to make these like complicated realistic facial expressions, when really if you strip it all down to its most basic forms, it's really simple stuff that you can then build upon to get more complicated as you get comfortable.
Yeah, and certainly like an understanding of the facial anatomy helps.
Absolutely.
With the understanding. So like definitely, you know, if you're not comfortable with that aspect, feel free to go back and watch the Face Rune episode and, you know, do some life drawing.
Yeah.
Particularly like, you know, drawings of people making facial expressions. But this is like very much from a simplified, cartoonified, exaggerated way. It's
definitely easier to simplify once you know the building blocks. But I found, at least in my own sort of art journey, you can sort of work on both at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
And they'll strengthen each other. Like the better you get at doing simplified expressions, the better you are at understanding the essence of what makes an expression function. And so then when you're applying it to a more complicated face, you can hit the expression harder. Yeah. And the more you know about facial structure and how real faces are made, the easier it is to simplify those pieces into their fundamental forms.
Yep.
So I'm just doing another example here of movement with these eyebrows. Sad eyebrows touching the top of the eye versus sad eyebrows up here. It usually indicates like the level of surprise that it's like if you had a surprise slider on your character creator screen, the eyebrows are always going to go up the more sort of surprised you are at whatever it is you're seeing. And then
and also it's like it looks less sad when like the more surprise, at least with these, it sort of reduces it's like it seems like a little bit maybe concerned, but mostly just surprised. Whereas when they're all the way down, it's like, oh no, something's wrong, someone's troubling you.
Yeah, exactly. And it works that way with angry eyebrows too. If you touch them, the person looks really frustrated. And then I caught everything. I caught everything. That's fine. If you touch them to the top of the eye, then the person looks really frustrated. And as you move them up, they get more like shocked, frustrated.
Yeah.
So that's just a simple way to sort of illustrate both eyebrows and placement, and we'll use placement with sort of everything.
Yeah.
As we move through. So now I'd like to go to eyelids, number 2 here. That's a horrible arrow. Eyelids, I think, are also very important. If we go back to our neutral brows here, it looks a little quizzical. Neutral's the hardest to draw for some reason.
Yeah.
If you want to really simplify it in terms of eyelids, you got open eyes, you got top lidded, which is going to give anything a more casual, sort of tired look.
The old Family Guy.
Yeah, bring them lids down a bit.
Them half lids. Everything's a little bit aloof and sarcastic.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
it will
remember
sort of
that time? Remember that time when we did the thing?
It will sort of
but it's for a goof.
Reduce the aggressiveness of whatever expression you have. Like if I put the angry eyebrows back, it's like angry, but like I expected this.
Yeah.
Put the sad ones back, it's like I'm kind of just sad, and honestly I'm tired of what's going on. I'm not like aggressively sad, I'm just like worn out. So that's what the half lid can offer you. Then we can do the lids the other way, where the lower lid comes up. Which will kind of take with it the entire bottom of the eye here into more of this type of shape.
Yeah.
Which this tends to increase the severity of the expression that you're using. if the lower lids are up and the person is angry, it's like they're getting pretty angry.
Yeah.
Because their whole eye is crinkling to match the brow. Like the whole brow ridge is squeezing the eyes down. Also works with, being sad. This is like closer to being like about to cry.
Yeah, we got some tears forming.
So that's just like, it's such a simple shift you can make. It's literally just one line either way. Like, are we like this? Are we like this? And it fundamentally changes the expression.
And if you put both, then you get like sort of suspicious.
Yep, both tends to be suspicious.
I don't know about this.
And the closer you get them together, the more the person is like squinting suspiciously.
This
this
is one of my favorite
crank them in.
Jacob faces. I feel like this is in a lot of your old comics. Just that, like,
yeah, I do really enjoy getting like one of these.
Yeah,
and then and then drifting the eyes a bit.
That's the oh shit, I'm into it.
Yeah. And if you drift the eyes, you can get a truly vacant.
Yeah, just like
expression.
Just woke up.
Yeah, just
like,
woke
what
up.
Why is this happening?
Yeah.
I love that.
And these also have like subtle nuances as well. You can get sort of a lid like this, or a lid like this, where it's a little bit, and they all sort of convey different meaning as well.
Yeah.
It's something to experiment with. Like, kind of what I want to get at here is that you should, in your own time, draw yourself a face and experiment with all of these, moving all these pieces around and seeing how it impacts the feel you get. And then it just,
these are all
it
tools.
adds these things to your visual arsenal, like stuff you'll remember. You'll be like, oh, I remember when I drew the eyebrows that way, it made the face seem like this. And that can just be something you can use as you go forward. Let's do some mouth.
Let's do some mouth.
Mouth obviously has a wider range of expressions and shapes. It's the most complicated. The eyes are, I think are a little more simple to implement, but the mouth can be in like any array of positions. You can get like a sort of an oval shape.
A lot you can do with placement for mouth.
Placement's huge on mouth.
Like, even if you just made like a little mouth.
Yes.
And like move it up. Oh, that's a little nose. Yeah. Like if you move it like up between the eyes, it's like a little
Yeah.
But if you move it all the way down to the bottom of the face, it's like, oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah, placement on mouth is really big. Dropping it down to the bottom is something I really like to do a lot.
Yeah.
To get the sort of like lengthening of the face without actually lengthening the head shape.
Yeah.
You can just move it down.
You move it off the face.
And it has a different feel to it. You can even move it to the side.
Yeah, now it's like, whoo.
Now it's like, whoo.
Ooh boy.
That kind of feel. And this is just a simple circle with a little, tongue in it. I'd probably change the tongue direction if I were going that way, but and you can add the other lines to it to sort of indicate how it's moving.
Yep.
From its base position. And yeah, then you can increase that circle to make sort of a ovular, like, oh! Or you can increase it the other way to make kind of like a cringe, like, eee.
Oh, very cringe. Incredibly cringe.
And as I've said earlier, you notice like the eyes, the eyebrows, not changing at all. And yet, every time you change the mouth, it reads totally differently. One like anatomy note I will make is that when you're moving around the mouth, I think it's important to remember that the teeth in there that are like part of sort of the skull shape, those aren't moving as much.
Teeth are staying put.
So typically what you're seeing is the lips moving around. So if you have like a big smile, it'll show all the teeth. If you have like, if the mouth is like small and low, you'll see like more of the bottom teeth, like that kind of thing. So you can decide how much teeth you want to show based on where the lips position is.
And again, you can cheat it.
Yeah, I absolutely do all the time.
Like you wouldn't, necessarily show any teeth if you had it down at the bottom there. You probably wouldn't want to show like
No.
that. That would just be the gums
It'd
of the
just be
bottom teeth.
yeah, it'd be horrific to look at.
You probably would just cheat it and not show any teeth.
It's stylized.
Yeah.
Speaking of stylized, you can go like really big with a mouth too, like off the domain of the face, and then adjust the face to fit it.
Yep.
Like, do a one piece to it.
A One Piece, a Rick and Morty, whatever you want to, whatever your big mouth reference of choice.
Yeah.
Big Mouth. Big Mouth doesn't really do this.
And you see here, I'm making the teeth way bigger than they could feasibly fit inside the head, but that's okay. To stylize it that way.
It creates it's like this person's going, hey!
Hey! Okay. Let's get rid of all of that. Because then I want to talk about sort of face placement.
Okay.
Where's my eyes? They're on this layer.
Never label your layers.
No, never ever.
Not once.
Because this is a thing too that actually does make an impact, and you kind of have to make adjustments on the fly if you're doing it this way. But this is just for example. If I take, my God, if I take the face and move it up,
oh, he's so hopeful.
it kind of gives a different feel now. It feels a little more hopeful, like he's looking up.
Yeah.
But if you take the face and move it down, now it's maybe like a little shy.
He's a little shy.
And you can sort of add elements like that. And this is not even accounting for how the face changes as it moves up, as you move your head up and down. I'm literally just sliding the asset.
Right.
And you already get the impression without even accounting for perspective or how these things would warp depending on how you move them.
Yeah. Sheepish. Good adjective, Ian.
Yeah, sheepish is a very good way to describe it. But I'm mainly just doing this to show how simple you can go, like without even knowing how this stuff would work in reality. Like in reality, if you moved this up, you would need to, perspective, like skew it.
Askew.
To sort of like fit the thing, and you need to like squish it a bit like this, and then you could like get it up there where it makes sense. But even like and then the ears would need to be adjusted, but even like not accounting for any of that, just the act of moving the face around changes the feeling of the expression.
Yep.
So this is something to consider when you're drawing an expression. Once you've kind of got the face that you want to do, consider where you're putting it on the head to indicate the tilt of the head. And that'll change the vibe of it as well.
Yeah.
And so something that's fun to do, I think, as like an exercise in this sort of thing. We're just going to get rid of this.
It's gone.
We're going to move this over here.
Hope you took notes. Hope you remember what they were.
Yeah. I like to sometimes just do a bunch of shapes and then kind of feel out what sort of expression I want to make and do like quick ones while keeping in mind like basically picking an element of those 4 elements and being like, this is what I'm focusing on for this face. Like if I drew a head like this, I might be like, let's see what happens if I put the mouth way down here and make it like this.
It's already, even with no eyes, it's like already a mood.
Yeah. And then it's like, and then I'll put the eyes like way up here. And maybe like a nose like this.
This guy doesn't know what's going on.
This guy doesn't know what's going on. You don't even have to approach it like with an intent, right? Like I'm just like placing things and then seeing what the result is. Because the more you practice stuff like this, the more you'll know automatically what the result will be when you set out to do it. Because you've gotten the experimentation out of the way.
Muppet side mouth.
So if we take one like this and we're like, let's put an eye over here and an eye over here really far apart. And then let's make a mouth in the middle. We all know this one, but there's a reason it became like a classic, because it hits really cute when you get that mouth up.
Mouth right between eyes, very cute. Very pleasant to look at.
Exactly. And then
no one's mouth is between their eyes, and yet you can draw it there, and it works.
It's like, let's get like a triangle. Maybe this one's got a mouth up here. This is Ogilvy.
You haven't even drawn eyebrows on any of these guys.
This is Ogilvy.
You haven't drawn eyebrows or lids. This is all just placement and mouth shape.
And then like ear placement too, because if I put the ears up here, that's pretty cute actually. And then if I put them down here though, it gives the impression that the head is like like moving.
They look like little arms down there.
They could be that too.
Yeah.
This is just, experimentation. And like then you can add the eyebrows. Like you could make this guy like this, and then he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, now we feel a little bad for the fact that he doesn't know.
I don't get it.
Whereas before, like he knows that he doesn't know at this point. Before he didn't even know. But now he's like, I know I don't know, and it makes me sad.
But if he's like this, then now
why do people keep asking me?
Now he seems like ignorant. Like ignorant and aggressive. Like, why should I know? I don't need to know. What do I have to know about? And you can put him up here, and then he's like, oh.
I never thought of it that way.
So that's what it is.
Huh.
We'll just do a couple more little face shapes. This is just a good way. And again, to reiterate, like if you're going to do this type of face practice, don't overthink it, like in terms of what you're trying to make your goal be. Just be like, okay, I'm going to do a shape, and then I'm going to think of a weird place to put the features.
Yeah.
Like what if the eyes are here?
This is Diddle Seed.
Oh, let's do this. Eyes here. This suspicious little guy.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, how would it feel if the mouth is way up here? He's a skeevo. He's a skis bag.
He's a little mischievous. What's he planning?
But what if we play with it? What if we move the mouth down here? This, for some reason, makes him seem a little kinder.
A little bit.
He doesn't seem like he's planning quite as much.
No.
What if we move the eyes to up here?
Oh.
I don't know what this says about him, but it gives a different vibe.
Yeah, this is sort of vibing. He's just sort of like, yeah, man.
But if you do this, he's skeevy again.
Now he's telling you about his podcast.
He's telling you about his podcast.
Have you heard my podcast? It's pretty great.
Get a nose in there. Why not? Just for fun.
We talk about a lot of topics. I think you'll find it pretty interesting.
But if you're into like, doing like cartooning and stuff like that, I think this is a really fun way to force yourself to make interesting looking shapes, like interesting characters.
Yeah.
If you're drawing in more of like a naturalistic style or even like an anime style, this is less helpful because they tend to follow more of a formula where like all the characters within one genre will look similar to one another. But if you're going for like this type of style, this is really fun, and it's just fun to do in general as an exercise, and it'll break you out of your comfort zones. So you're not always drawing things the exact same way. And like, even if this isn't your style, you might do something here that resonates with you and you can add it to your style. So there's always stuff like that. Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next phase of the lesson. Who's ready for the next phase of the lesson? Where's my doc? There it is.
Where that doc?
Okay, so another way to practice that is, since I always like to talk about, your inputs and your outputs. This practice is very much output because it's just taking things from my brain and putting them on the canvas and then messing with them to see what they look like. But it's always good to do input practice too. And a good way to do that is to get some freaking examples. As you can see here, this is a woman making a bunch of faces. And they're really good. They're really like exaggerated, so they're easy to learn from. And we'll make her a little bigger here. So I think it's good to both learn from real life photos of people and also from other artists too that you like.
Definitely.
And that'll give you sort of a well-rounded knowledge base of both how real faces look when they're contorted in ways and also how artists tend to stylize those faces. But
that like one from the right on the top really looks like a JoJo.
Which one?
Like Are You Approaching Me?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good. But we're just going to break down some of these to learn a thing or two. If you've watched my other lessons about like how to practice and stuff, breaking down images is a big part of it because it'll teach you how things go. And we can also break them down in simple ways. Like I think a good thing to do is really just focus on those 4 aspects that I mentioned earlier: the eyebrows, the eyelids, the mouth, and where it kind of sits on the head. So if we're starting with this one, you know, we take note of sort of the top eyelid and the bottom eyelid, the top eyelid and the bottom eyelid. And it's like, okay, well, this is interesting because one eye has a higher up eyelid than the other one. It's giving kind of a crazed look. And then it's like, okay, what's going on with the mouth? Let's make that into basic shapes too.
Yeah.
And see what the deal is with that. And then the eyebrows are like high and arched. So we can take that and move it over. And you've got sort of an example of a face here. A simplified cartoon face.
That's a face for sure.
And we'll do this with some other ones too. We'll take sort of the angle into account here. But I'd like the line to be lighter. Thank you. So you want to be focusing on sort of the basic shapes, the placement of things in a really basic level when you're doing this. And don't be too like precious with it. You're really just out here to look for sort of repeated themes and things that you can memorize. So with this one, this is an expression that I often use, the tilted head, the upward tilted head. And it's because like while I was studying, I noticed that if you tilt the head up and then have the person looking down on you like this, where the eye touches the bottom of the lid, it gives like this feeling of like superiority or like cockiness or like sometimes craziness. It's like more of an unhinged sort of look. And of course, nose placement is going to make a big difference on this one too. But
yeah, you want to see up that nostril.
But for right now, we're just focusing on these simple elements. That
nose was
face.
Not on the list.
No, because nose indicates less about expression to me and more about which way the head is turning.
Yeah, that falls under the tilt.
Yeah, it's more of an anatomical feature, I think, personally.
Yeah, and again, like, you know, if you're going for more realism, the nose, I mean, you can see the nose it's changing shape depending on the mouth shape because like the nostrils are getting pulled with the skin.
Absolutely.
Which is less important for like a more simplified cartoon character. But that is something to keep in mind if you're going for more realism.
Yeah, definitely. This one's really fun.
Yeah.
Because you get this interesting half-lidded eye shape with eyes that are looking up and are also kind of looking in 2 different directions.
Yeah.
And you can like indicate the lid here too.
Yeah.
Because this is an expression that like I would not have thought about on my own with the mouth down here. And you can even like, you can hint in the lips too if you want to. You can kind of do You know, you can do it however you want.
You can do it however you want.
But this is kind of like how the learning process goes. Because now that I've like seen these eyes drawn like this, I'm like, oh, that's kind of a fun shape. Like I like that. They kind of curve up like this at the sides and then have this big heavy lid.
Yeah.
So you can learn a lot from breaking down real people like this. I love this one.
Oh, that's really good.
Another sort of crazed expression. I noticed this woman tends to have one eye that opens a little wider than the other one.
The thing she's doing with her mouth is pretty incredible.
Look at this is a really good mouth to remember.
She made her top lip completely disappear.
Oh, I love this mouth. I'm gonna keep this mouth. Look at that.
Yeah, that's really good.
And so this is what I mean when I talk about like input practice, because I would never have thought to shape a mouth this way on my own. But now that I've seen it, I can be like, I'll store it in my memory banks, and later when I have to draw a face that's kind of like this, I'll be like, oh, that's a fun one. They're really just the lines. It's like a little like a Mad Magazine guy mouth.
Yeah.
And then I think we'll do one more of these too. I like this one a lot because it's got sort of like an up tilt. We'll highlight the nostrils this time to indicate the angle that the head is going. But this one is like half lidded and lower lidded and sort of vacant, looking up. And the eyebrows are a really interesting shape. And it's stuff like this where like you might not know that the eyebrow could get shaped like that from your own like brain. It's where the reference really comes into play. And the mouth's usually just like some kind of weird trapezoid. Just draw a weird trapezoid. It's fine.
It's fine.
Get some of this stuff in there. Kind of a face.
Yeah.
But something fun you can also do is, you know, break down expressions really simply like this, and then you can even like draw a character sort of around them, like use it to practice your own characters. Add it to like your own thing.
I like that.
Like I don't know who this is. I'm just making this up.
This is a teen.
This is like a teen.
This is a teen being like, whatever.
Just being like, I don't care. I don't want to do it.
A teen of our generation.
Yeah.
I don't know if teens still do this.
Teens always will do this. This is so teens. Just like, I don't know, whatever. Maybe it's like going down like this, like, I don't care. So you can like play with the expressions and try to apply them to your own characters and stuff too. I think it works really well, this exercise, if you have like an OC that you like and you want to practice drawing that OC, like exhibiting all these expressions so you know what they'll look like in every circumstance. I think that's really helpful.
For sure.
And let's see, then I had this picture too just because I thought it was a really good expression.
Oh yeah.
And I just wanted to break it down as well.
Nice asymmetry there.
Yeah, the asymmetry is fun. It's mostly the mouth shape and the eyebrow shapes that I was, because I love this, like, again, it's a trapezoid that's like leaning, and then the lips form like a separate set of shapes around it, which I think is pretty interesting too.
Yeah, with people who have like really made themselves up, you can get some like really interesting shapes with like the lips and the shapes around the eyes with like the lashes and stuff.
Yeah. And these eyes kind of follow the half lidded and lower lidded approach. Look in this direction. You can usually, if there's like a really clear line of where the eyelid is, I like to include that as well. And then look at these eyebrow shapes. They're beautiful.
Beautiful, beautifully shaped eyebrows.
So cool. Include a little bit of this stuff. You know, eyelashes are fun too. Not necessary, but fun. And then it's just like a little thing to add to your arsenal. Like what a cool face. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, drawing can be pretty fun. Y'all ever tried drawing?
Can I ask, like, because you know, this isn't something to do all the time, but like in this instance, I feel like that the line on the right side that goes from like the edge of the nostril to the mouth really is like prominent.
Yeah,
and I feel like it adds.
That is absolutely true. You're of course welcome to pick and focus on which things contribute the most to the expression. We'll just put this back so we can show off what Nathan's talking about here. He's talking about this line.
Yeah, it just feels like that line is doing something.
We'll even bring her like up a little bit so we can really see. And this line will always go, it's these lines right here that sort of form the upper lip. They'll always go from the corner of the nose down to the corner of the mouth. So you can indicate that stuff as well, to give it that snarling impression.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. So this is, again, sort of a kind of example of how to practice with like intent and focus. So it's different than like tracing something. It's like you're taking these building blocks and incorporating them into your own sort of mental memory. And all drawing is just a bunch of shapes.
It's just shapes.
And you remember the combination of shapes, and the more you draw, the more combinations of shapes you remember. And then you just have access to those when you need them later. So next, I've got some examples of expressions from artists that we can learn from.
All different ways to indicate I'm so fucking done.
Yep, this is the I'm so fucking done expression meme by Cappuccino. I just found all these on Pinterest. So any like, you know, thing you can search on, I search for like expressions, like drawing expressions or facial expressions drawing or stuff like that. Because a lot of people do these expression memes, and it's a really good way to highlight all the different types of ways you can do.
Yeah. And this one, we've got some like upper body in the expression as well, which is cool.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Shoulder and arm stuff can help indicate the mood you're trying to convey.
Yeah, if we were moving into like body expression, at least for like, I think shoulders, hands, and then like placement of the head in terms of like where it is, like is it slumped, is it up straight? I think those things are the most important for expressing body language as indicated by these drawings. You can see when the neck is like straight back like this, is a little bit more indignant, shoulders up, versus something like this where the neck is curving forwards and the shoulders are down. All important things to pay attention to, but we're focusing on the face. This is a facial expression stream.
This is for face.
And this person too, you'll notice no noses. No noses included here.
You don't need them.
So again, I would just go in and like highlight sort of the important elements and then think about like why they work. With this one, you'll notice we've got the mouth going super low on the head and also coming off the side of the head in a way that wouldn't make sense in a real person. But for some reason, when it's drawn, it really reads as being sort of like a lazy way of talking or something, like a...
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like the exact word. It's got a certain feeling where it's like, I don't know, kind of like a whatever.
It's like a
like I can't even be bothered to get my mouth in the middle of my head. And then here we've got the squint that we illustrated before.
Yeah, good squint.
And they included like these lines, like the brow creasing lines, which also contribute a lot to facial expression.
I go through all of these facial expressions every day when I read Twitter. It's pretty great.
Every one of them.
Every
Let's get
day.
these out of the way. And then the next day, come right back to Twitter.
Yep. I never learn.
This one's pretty interesting, actually, because it shows how, like, just because you have sort of a smile doesn't mean you're drawing a happy expression.
Right.
Like, the smile plus the angry eyebrows can often mean something like cockiness. But in this one, with the all the creases around the brow ridge, it really reads as frustration, even though it's a smiling mouth.
We've got that classic sort of anime blood vessel.
Yeah, you got the blood
popping.
vessel, but even without the blood vessel, it still has that vibe to it, which I think is really cool. And these are all really good. I love all these expressions so much. This one right here, a classic. Half-lidded with the
Dark
arched
shadow
eyebrow.
under the eyes.
So sort of like a calm, collected, like, see? Told you so. And also, I'm so tired. I'm tired, but right.
Yep.
With the little smirk. I just really like practicing this way, because I feel like every time I spend some time doing this, like the next time I draw something for myself, I feel like I am like cheating. Just because my brain has so much fresh juice in it that like is eager to try like the new stuff that it's seen.
Yeah.
And so you end up like doing stuff that's outside of what you normally would do.
Give your brain that fresh juice.
Your brain needs the fresh juice. So we'll
Your brain
this.
craves the fresh juice.
This is a good example too, because it highlights something that I didn't talk about, which is you can also get some big gains by adjusting the size of the pupils if you're cartooning.
Right.
In like, you know, a normal person's eye, like their iris and pupil zone is the same size always. Like the pupil gets bigger and smaller, but the iris is the same size. But when you're cartooning, you can make the eyes really big, like this, to give kind of an innocent, like wondrous expression.
Like, wow.
Like, oh. Or you can make them really small, and suddenly it looks very scared. Like, oh.
Whoa.
And like the smaller you go, the more that intensifies that feeling. It's like it mimics, you know, the human pupil, but to a much more exaggerated degree. So that's another thing you can play with when you're doing stuff like this. Because if you get the big eyes with the with these little tired lines, now we suddenly look more in the sad realm, like the shocked and sad, like you've just seen your anime boyfriend with another girl. You get the big, you know, tears. Like, how could this be? Sasuke? Is that you? And then maybe you have like the low mouth, like, oh. Like you've just gotten some truly devastating news about what Sasuke's been up to.
Oh no. Damn.
We can even add in like the sort of eye shadow here, and then with the big this. You can
like
add in like this. It's like, oh, what? Anyway, I'm getting away from like what I'm talking about a little bit. Sometimes I just start having fun, and then the drawings are all nonsense.
Sometimes you just start having fun. You give your brain the juice, and then it has fun.
Yeah, well, it wants to. Your brain wants to like apply these things, and then when you start seeing like success, when you're just like trying out stuff, and it starts working, then it feels really cool, and you remember that drawing is fun to do. And sometimes that's important to remember.
I think it's important to remember that.
I'm just gonna get like so sad, but it's okay. Sasuke is not the only guy out there.
Yeah.
There's plenty of Sasuke's in the Naruto.
There's plenty of fish in the sea. There's plenty of Sasuke's in the Naruto.
And then here's another one I really liked.
Oh, those are some happies.
To break down. These are some really cute, exaggerated expressions. But as I was saying earlier, you can take the lessons from the exaggerated expressions and apply them to whatever your art style is.
Yeah.
And this one shows off a lot of the... Oh, here's a lot of really good sad ones, too. This one here, the backwards head tilt, is like an angry sad. Like, I can't believe you would do this to me.
Oh, we were friends. Sasuke.
So you can get this one with the...
You can't believe what Sasuke did.
And then just as an example, if we erase the eyebrows and do something like this,
yeah,
suddenly it's a very different sort of thing. Still upset, but now angrier.
Yeah.
What if we do something like this? Now it's more like, wow.
Wow.
Wow, I can't believe it. Then it's the same, it's all shades, like it's all using this base.
Yeah.
I always just think that's so cool.
You can do, you know.
What's that Bill Nye meme that's like, if you don't think that's the coolest shit you've ever heard, then get the fuck out of my face. What is it?
I don't know that one.
I have to find it.
I don't know that one. I'm sorry. You didn't tell me to brush up on Bill Nye memes before the stream. Otherwise, I would have. I didn't know I was going to be quizzed.
Oh, here it is. You'll like this, Nathan. It's even about dinosaurs.
Oh, hell yeah.
You may have breathed the same air a dinosaur breathed thousands of years ago. If you don't think that's the tightest shit, then get out of my face.
And then you can break down his facial
Oh, let's do it.
Make it part of the lesson.
Yeah. I'm basically this, but about changing the eyebrows on a facial expression. If you don't think that's the tightest shit, then get out of my face.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna break it down.
Bill Nye has a great face.
Because you could see you can see the whites almost all the way around.
Yeah.
So it is a very aggressive look that he's probably not intentionally giving. I like just sort of the little tight mouth too. It does look like he's saying this.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what else he would be saying. Get some nostrils in there. What? This is the expression for if you don't think that's the tightest shit.
Yeah.
And you can apply this to like your own characters for when they're thinking that someone might not think it's the tightest shit.
Yeah.
This is unrelated, but I just remembered something that is a helpful tip.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exactly fully related to what I'm talking about, but I just remembered it, so I'm gonna talk about it anyway.
Yeah, I love that.
It has to do with when you're drawing eyebrows and like eyes on a face. Let's just get a face. Can we get a face, please? And this is more of like an anatomical thing, but it's really helpful for when you're doing like cartooning too. Essentially, when you're drawing eyeballs, the inner corners of the eyes, this part and this part, let's get some like actual eyes in here. The inner corners should always be like parallel to one another. And then when you're doing expressions with eyebrows, you should be able to do like a single line between the eyebrows that completes a full shape. And that's how you can make it look not wrong. So like even if you're doing something like an expression that's like this, right? You want this to be one, and this isn't even quite right, but you want this to be like one curve that you can continue between the two, even though they're not connected.
Yeah.
That's how you'll make it look like balanced.
Interesting.
And like you'll notice it here, like you can make a line here between the corners of the eyes.
And then the eyebrows can go up and they form a little like...
Yeah, the eyebrows go up, and in this case they would, you know, form a little like whip.
A little boop.
In this case they do the same thing, but you can make like a curve that connects them. And then these are like that. And let's get to some different eyebrows. Like these obviously do it.
Yeah. That's
one beautiful shape. And then these are a little bit off. The corners are a little bit off kilter in this one, but it kind of works with the manic energy. It's going to have a more manic look if things are unbalanced. It's just something that like once you think about it, once you know it's a thing, you'll start noticing it like in all the artists that you like are doing this thing. There's one trick that doctors hate.
Doctors hate it.
And you know, we can show it on Bill Nye's face here too.
Yeah.
We got, you know, this corner and this corner like that. And then if we follow the sort of lower side of the brow, it makes this one shape.
It sure do.
Like that. And it's just because of how the muscles in your face are connected. So if you move one eyebrow, it's going to make the other one's going to like move in accordance, and it always kind of keeps this one line because your brow ridge is this one line that stretches across.
That's just true.
And if you don't think that's the tightest shit,
get out of my face.
Then get out of my face. I've lost like all of my layers here. Okay, let's see. How long we've been going here?
We're about an hour.
We're about an hour. Okay. Let's see if anyone has some questions that they might want answered about drawing facial expressions.
Yeah.
Because that's basically, I've already said all the stuff I had planned to say, so we can answer some questions, or if there's not any questions, then we can like do some more sort of like practice pieces or look at some other artists' work and break it down. Ian Vermeers has some emojis they did that they put in the Discord earlier. If we want to critique, we can do that. Take a look at that.
There they are.
Oh yeah, those are good. My critique is going to be these are good. But I'll still show them off and say that thing.
Yeah, we can talk about how they do the stuff that we were talking about.
Yeah, these definitely showcase like everything that I was talking about very well. These rule. Great job, Ian.
Way to go, Ian.
And I'll scroll back up and read the other questions people have asked as well. Okay, let's take a look here. I think these are great. They're perfect because they're like emojis, so the head is always like a circle. But if you look at this one, it showcases the like how the placement of the head on the circle affects the impact of it. It gives it that sort of like cocky like look by tilting it back. Really interesting mouth shape too. I love like this mouths that do this thing. This one over here, look at the placement on this. Take the eyes, put them at the very bottom of the head, and the mouth right next to it. Very sad look. This one over here, the eyes are most of the head, and then the mouth just at the very bottom. And it has that like shy, bashful look. These are so fun. And they're showcasing like all the things you can do with the same basic shapes. And look at this. Look at this.
It does the thing.
Look at this.
It does the thing we talked about.
Look at this.
Yep.
Look at it.
Look at it. Are you looking at
it?
Are
you looking at it? Yeah, these are great, Ian. I don't really have critiques. Like, I think they're really fun, really well stylized expressions. I think they totally nail it. If I drew these expressions, I'd be very happy with them.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at some of the other questions here. How do you, from Evelyn Wu, how do you go about wrinkles and making them expressive but not over dramatic? That's a good question. Let's find...
How do you do that?
I'm Googling expressive face right now so that I can showcase what I'm talking about. Oh, this is a good one. And we can do like a couple. This kind of goes to what Nathan was talking about earlier. And it basically comes down to, if the zoom thing would go away so that I could do my dang work, it basically comes down to highlighting the wrinkles that most contribute to the expression itself and ignoring a lot of the other ones. So like making the image like lowered in opacity like this really helps to show you what's important in the image line wise, and it's going to be this one.
Yep.
This one is like so pronounced from the nose down here. So kind of as long as you get that one, and then maybe this one like under the mouth, and I would maybe get a little bit of this one too, depending. But you want to see what is making the expression, what's really selling the expression. This mouth is so good.
That's really good.
And then focus on that stuff, because kind of your goal is to only deliver the pertinent information about the pose and the expression. Because these are pretty neutral eyebrows. A little on the mad side. But we can scoot this off here and you can kind of see that you don't need to include like every single wrinkle. Maybe I can find like even a wrinklier person to showcase this.
Can you find a wrinklier person, please?
This is not a wrinklier person, but I do just want to get this in here because look at his face.
Wow.
Another thing is that kids make really good reference for cartoony faces, because kids tend to make just like the wildest faces, and they don't care about anything.
And their faces are shaped more like cartoon characters.
Yes, also true.
Cartoon characters tend to be like rounder.
Look at this mouth. It's so good. So you got like some pretty important lines. Obviously this one, the chin one. And I'd maybe like even hint at it over here.
Little double chin.
But it's really dark there and then really dark under here. So those are going to be pretty important. The dimple I would probably showcase. And then you got little nostrils, little eyes looking up. What a face. What a face. And none of that really matters. Oh, maybe even like, and then you can do like this, what I'm doing now, where you take it out and then you see sort of like what it still needs. Like I'd probably put this line in to really nail it. This is such a good face.
It's really good.
But yeah, let me see if I can find like a old person's face. An older person. I thought Julia was looking at me, but she's not looking at me. I thought you were looking at me, but you're not looking at me.
You knew my face?
No. I was just turning around because I thought you were looking at me. But get this.
Julia's just doing some complicated tax forms. She's been Discording us about.
Love that. That's so fun.
Thank you, Julia.
Old face. Hit me with an old face. Come on and hit me with an old face. Fire away.
You've got more works in progress to critique if we want to go that route.
Oh yeah, totally. Let's just get this old man in here.
In the Discord. Oh, that's an old face. Now that's an old face.
Now that's an old face. So obviously these are always going to be important. I'd probably highlight some of the ones at the corner of the mouth here. And then these down by the chin. We're just going to go like through this sort of quickly here.
Sort of get that marionette looking.
Yeah. Because this sort of like sagging of the jowls is a marker of age. So you want to focus on the things that really sell the fact that this is an older person, but not without like depicting every wrinkle, because if you depict every wrinkle, it will look horrific. Unless you're like doing like a full, you know, naturalistic painting. Maybe get like some of the forehead wrinkles here. Get an ear, get an ear. You know, there's a head. There's some eyes. The eyebrows are like wild style. We're not going to really focus on all of that, but you can get like even just from this, like you know this is an old person.
Yeah.
And there's not that many lines that are required to showcase that. So just focus on like the biggest areas of the deepest shadow. And that should get you where you need to go. And don't focus on depicting every line.
Yeah, you don't need to get all those many under eye ones, because there are like a million in there.
That'll take you to Nasty Town. And you don't want to be in Nasty Town.
Unless you want to be in Nasty Town.
Unless you want to be in Nasty Town.
If you don't want to be in Nasty Town, you don't have to go to Nasty Town.
I think of it as like we're mimicking the way that sort of we as humans perceive faces, which is like if Nathan comes over and I look at Nathan's face, I'm not like thinking about every detail on Nathan's face. I'm seeing it as like a holistic unit.
You see the beard.
Yeah, I see the beard. I see sort of like the eyebrows and the nose and the hair, and that's it. That's all you need. Most of the time, we're not analyzing people's faces that closely, so as long as you get the important parts, you will create a likeness. Okay. There was more stuff.
Yeah, there are a couple facial expressions in the Discord.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at the Discord.
If you want to look at them.
I'd like to look at them. Why not? Okay, here we go. From Chase Cubed. Asking for some expressional improvements.
These are just cool designs.
These are cool designs. And also it's like, I think it should be stated that the facial expression is not always the focus of a piece.
Right.
With these, I would say the facial expression is less important because it's more design. If I could click the right thing, let's get them in here.
You can do it.
These are a lot more design heavy and they're full body and have background elements. So I think the faces that you've done are actually good for this type of work. Like a more neutral expression suits this type of piece. Because it depends on like the story you're telling with what you're drawing, right? Like, if the story is that the person is like furious to be around this dragon, then that would be one thing. But all right, let's get in there, because I do like this face a lot.
Yeah, it's
I'm not
pretty
going to
good.
get too far in there because the resolution's not super high at the moment, but it's like a stern face, right?
Yeah.
And like it falls into more of like a neutral stern territory.
Rage / determination is the desired.
Yeah. And this one over here is a calm and collected sort of face.
Yeah, peaceful / resolute.
The half lid, but the brows are still at an angle that indicates like strength, or like confidence. It's like a confident calm. So like really, I don't think there's anything wrong with the expressions you did.
I would say the one on the right looks like maybe more mischievous, just because you have the eyes sort of shifted, looking back over their shoulder, which maybe isn't necessarily what you're going for. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it depends. It depends on the intent. Yeah.
If the like resolute to me feels like should be looking forward maybe instead of back, but I don't know.
Yeah, we can still like play with it a little bit, just see like what other
that's
results.
my only, just because I don't know, like these are really good. Like that anytime someone's asking for critique, I assume they like want maybe like something to consider about like changing, but like obviously like this is already good, but like
Yeah,
if
these
I
are
were
really
to
good.
if the intent is resolute, I don't know.
Let's play a game that I like to call. We'll say what the intent is, and we'll change the expression to suit it.
Yeah.
Like if, for instance, mischievous is the angle you were going for, I think there's ways you could push it further. You could bring the bottom eyelid up a bit more, like this, to get more of like a I'm about to play a prank sort of look.
Yeah.
And then the eyebrows could be like a little bit more kind of like one of these situations. And you could bring even the corners of the mouth up a little more to get that kind of Joker smile. Everyone loves the Joker.
This is my face when I'm going to become the Joker.
If you're thinking about becoming the Joker, this is your face. And so now the face is kind of like, I'm about to get up to some shenanigans.
Yeah.
With my big dog. Yeah, big dog.
Big dog.
And then
Large
we can examine,
canine.
like, if like Nathan said, we wanted to go more resolute. We could keep sort of the heavy lidded look, adjust the eyes to be looking more forward, like at us, which wouldn't take much of an adjustment. And we're just gonna experiment a little here. Could maybe even like make the eyebrows a little more.
Yeah.
And that one could probably not be cutting off the head there.
Just chop it off.
You know, add like some of these lines here. Make it a bit more purposeful looking. Nose is fine. And this is even like maybe a little on the angry side. But we could even bring the lower lid down a bit to compensate for that.
Oh, sure.
So that it's and then maybe this could even come down a bit too.
Yeah, this is like I know what I'm doing. Listen, I'm peaceful, but like don't fuck with me.
But like I will, like, you see this dog?
Do you see this giant dog I have?
Yeah. So these are just like subtle changes, and again, it's like it all depends on what your intent is, because I think the face you have, there's nothing wrong with that face either. I think you did a very good job.
Yeah.
It's just like pure intention. We can jump back to it. Yeah, this one's got like a slight mischievous. This one's like, I'm really mischievous.
And then,
And then this one's like, I'm really
less-
serious.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna hit you with this staff.
I kind of want to see on the one on the left if we move the face up a little bit, to make it a little bit more like intimidating.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Oh yeah. Let's snag that whole face. Hope you don't mind. We're just gonna snag that whole face. And we're just gonna go, if we could, maybe just like, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
If we go like slightly up,
Yeah, I don't know.
and then we could even like,
You could even like tilt it a little, tilt the whole head.
let me get the right color to kind of get the hair back in here a bit. And then we could take this, yeah. Take out a little bit of the jaw there. You know, there's lots of things you can do.
Yeah, it's like, and you know, ultimately you may decide that
bring it back
like
down
the
a
way you
bit.
had it was good, but there's nothing wrong with just like trying, you know, doing little fiddles,
Yeah,
fiddle with it.
this is just fiddle
futz
faddle.
with it.
It's just
Now that you
ways you
have-
can try things.
You have these levers you can pull, these sliders you can interact with. You can just like try it and be like, does this make it look more or less like what I want? If it's more, then great, and if it's not, then like cool. At least now I know that the way I had it before was good.
Yeah, totally. You shouldn't be afraid to like just like make a copy of all your layers that's just for fiddling. And then fiddle to your heart's content. Cool. Yeah, these are really rad. Great work. I don't think I ever said your name, or did I? Chase Cubed. I did.
It's Chase Cube.
Great work, Chase Cube. These are really cool. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. I see there's some other stuff in the Discord. Let me see if there's other questions people have.
I love that big dog, by the way.
Big dog. Yeah, the animals in these are really cool.
Yeah, these are just cool designs.
Some people have been asking about translating an expression to an animal character,
Ooh.
and that is a difficult task sometimes. You have to like pick elements of their face to humanize.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked about that a little bit on the how to draw animals stream, but
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how you would do it.
It's not something I have like a ton of experience in, but I feel like I'm just looking for some examples here. I'm pulling up some Lackadaisy cats.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really good.
This is the smallest image that's ever. Could I get like a big image, please?
Please? Internet, please. This is the tiniest. Yeah, here's a face. Can you see that?
Here we go.
See that idiot?
But you'll see that like if you look at these here cats, the elements of the expression are the same as on a human face.
Yeah, the key is to give whatever animal you're drawing eyebrows.
Give them eyebrows. That super helps.
Oftentimes, like with a lot of mammals, you can sort of just like a lot of mammals have just like naturally sort of expressive fur patterning
Yeah.
on their faces, and so you can sort of cheat that into being eyebrows, but eyebrows are very helpful for making expressions. So
Cats
if you
are
can get
also
away,
like cheats.
yeah,
Because cats have big eyes, expressive little faces. So it does make it easier. And they're not so far from human proportions. But maybe we could try like a challenge. Like we could get like a more difficult animal.
Oh,
Try
Karina's
to
in
like
chat.
translate. Karina's in
Karina.
chat. Karina, what are you doing in chat? Get out of here.
Or stay.
No, you shouldn't get out of here. You should stay.
Do whatever you like.
Because they said specifically like a seagull.
Oh.
So let's look up, since like I said, I'm not an expert, let's look up cartoon seagull. This is literally what I would do if I were tasked with drawing something like this.
Yeah. See how... Yeah. An artist probably has had the same issue as you. And so you can always see how someone else did it. You do cartoon seagull, you can do cartoon bird.
Yeah, cartoon bird.
If seagull is too, because like the most famous cartoon seagull is...
Like here's one.
Well, there you go. That's...
Looks like the one from the...
Scuttle from The Little Mermaid. It's like a clip art version of him. I don't know.
And so let's just like, identify sort of what makes this work. The eyes are like, as always, the windows to the soul of the seagull.
Yeah, they gave him eyebrows.
Yeah, they gave him eyebrows. They gave him
Seagulls.
human-shaped eyes, I think, are the biggest part.
Yeah.
If the character has human-shaped eyes, then humans will look at it and say, I identify with this because it looks like me, kind of enough.
Ian finished the sentence I was going to say, which was the most famous cartoon seagulls are the ones from Finding Nemo, which are just like blank expression mine.
Yeah.
So
they're a little less expressive, a little less human looking.
Yeah.
Then you'll see they kept like the top beak really beaky. And then they're using the cheeks.
Yeah, they gave it cheeks.
They gave it cheeks so that they could indicate smiling or frowning or whatever.
Which again, if you look at a seagull, they don't have cheeks like this.
No. And then the beak itself is pretty... they usually make them a little more malleable so that they move more like mouths. So like sometimes they'll do little like lip things with their beak. They'll be like, mwah. Which like a bird can't do this. Don't ask a bird to do this. They can't.
They don't know.
But a cartoon bird can. So I think it's taking as many elements, and like you got the big cheek here, the big cheek here, taking as many elements from human facial anatomy and applying it to the animal as you can.
Yeah. Basically, any part of the face that isn't like a human face, you just make it like a human face.
Yeah, and then just much like drawing the old people, where you pick the wrinkles that are the most decisive, you pick the features of the animal that are the most decisive. In this case, the bill.
Beak.
The beak bill.
Beak bill.
And you keep that in there, and then make the rest of it just like a human face. Because if we like take this beakman bill out, I'm gonna remove it.
It's just a guy's face.
It's basically freaking the snowman from...
It's just Olaf.
It's just Olaf.
Now it's Olaf.
So like if we just like, put a nose on this thing and like a face like this, it's just a guy.
Yeah.
This is just a guy.
So yeah, if you want to make a bird...
It's kind of cursed.
If you want to make a bird cartoon expression, make a guy, give it the top part of the beak, and then make the bottom part of the beak into a mouth.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Oh, I hate this man.
No laugh.
This is no laugh.
It's no laughing matter.
Give him a little bit of like this. Looks like you should have this.
I don't like this guy. I wish he would leave.
No, he's got a little tie.
I used to be a seagull. Now look at me.
Look at me now.
I have a successful business.
Killing seagulls. I'm a traitor to my own kind.
I know how they think.
Oh, why this is so
Scourge
funny.
of the gulls. That's what they call me. Haha.
It's funny, but I think it gets the point across that you're basically just taking a person and slapping animal features on them.
Yeah.
Human eyes, human eyebrows, those are the two. Much like I said at the beginning, it's the pillars of facial expression, the eyebrows and the eyes and the mouth.
And the mouth.
And
yeah,
then the
if
nose
you got
doesn't
those
matter.
elements,
Make the nose into the animal nose.
Yeah, turn the nose into animal nose or beak or whatever the animal have.
And you're done. Okay, let's move on. Get some of these out of here. We'll do another Critico.
I saw a question a while back.
Yes.
If you have two different characters doing the same expression, but they naturally have different sized, shaped eyes, how do you show that?
How do you show that?
How do you show that two characters are experiencing the same emotion, even though their eyes are shaped differently?
Interesting. Okay. Let's take a crack at it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe what I'm thinking about here. It's not the shape of the eye, but the shape of the eye in relation to its default state.
Right.
So I know a good example. We'll get like, you know, an eye like this. And this is sort of like a neutral eye. And then we'll get an eye that's more like this, right?
Yeah.
So like in the character's like default state, this is what they look like.
It's Joy and Olive.
It's Joy and Olive, yeah. Put a cat nose on them. Put a human mouth on them. There you go. Look at that. Cat. No, not a cat. So if like these are your two characters, right? And then they get surprised. Character one's eyes are gonna like open wider like this, and they'll be like, oh, what? Then you'll see kind of the whole eye. Character two's eyes will get wider, but in a much more subtle way. Kind of more like this. And this would just be like sort of how I would approach it. This isn't like a perfect example, but
yeah.
So you can see that on like both, you know, examples here, they're both surprised.
Yeah.
Even though these eyes are way bigger open than these eyes, but it's about the relation to the neutral state.
Yeah.
So like if this character were to like squint, you'd get a very like narrow sort of eye shape. And if this character were to squint, you'd get a narrow eye shape, but it would be a much bigger, probably even go more than that. This looks like a sad squint.
Yeah, maybe it is.
But you know, you get the impression here of what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, it's the relationship to the neutral.
Yes.
The neutral pose.
Because certain eyes will only go, you know, so wide, and certain eyes will only go so narrow.
Right.
And it even works with like, if you're going even like more cartoony, like let's say, you know, if it's a character like this, and then their eyes could get really big or really small, but it works because it keeps the base sort of eye orb.
Yeah.
And then if you had a character like this, looking at you like this, and then they get shocked like this, you kind of want to maintain the basic shape,
Right.
and then stretch it
Or squish it.
or squish it accordingly.
Yeah.
I hope that all makes sense to people.
Makes sense to me.
But that is what I think of when I do it.
I think that's correct.
That eye looks totally messed up. But you know, it's an example. It's not like
That's just an example.
it's not like perfect art, okay?
It's allowed.
Can everyone get off my case for like a second?
Everyone relax.
Everyone's been nothing but kind.
Calm down.
Everyone is
Can
so
y'all
calm.
calm down? Please?
They're the calmest they've ever been.
Settle down. Don't make me come back there.
Okay. So yeah, that's how I would approach different eye types. Keep in mind the neutral state of the eye and then adjust the eye. Stretch it open and closed and based on sort of the shape that it naturally has. Next. What's next? I'm ready for more. I saw one here that I think would be good to critique from AF.
Do it.
So we're going to pull that in.
Oh, no.
We got this expression here. And I think they also included...
I'm sorry for yelling at you, chat.
Some reference.
I got too carried away with the bit. Calm down. Could you imagine? Can you imagine if I was actually like that? Oh, kitty.
Okay, so this was the reference piece, and they were trying to sort of mimic that expression on a person. I think some of like when I look at this expression, everything is like set up anatomically well, but I have a hard time reading what the expression is supposed to be, like what emotion it's supposed to convey. Mm-hmm. It looks like vaguely annoyed, but what's actually taking me out of it is, I think this is kind of an experiment. We're just fiddling here, as always.
Yeah.
I think if we cover up this eye, now it actually reads to me. I think this eye and the nose with the sort of snarly nose and the eye going in like this and the mouth being like, this expresses like sort of the discomfort factor. Right. Like, I'm irritated. And then this other eye is what's taking me out of it, because this eye looks far too neutral. It's like expressing a totally different expression. I'll showcase it by... we'll just cover up the other part of the face. If we cover this up...
just sort of like pensive, like just sort of thinking.
And we should be able to like see the expression in like each of the features. Mm-hmm. So I think this eye is where we're getting hung up. And how would I change it? If we look at the cat, let's break down the cat. Why don't we?
Because the cat is literally doing that thing we talked about with the mouth is at like the bottom of the face, because that's how cat.
Yeah, mouth is down there, and this eye has a more of a half-lidded looking up.
Yeah. And
then this one is closed. So I think what we're missing here is
it's also like it's turned more towards us.
Yeah, the angle is different, which makes it difficult. But I think what I'll do, if you don't mind, kind viewer, is I'm just going to do a little like my own one. And I'll show you kind of what I would do to get that eye. And again, it's falling into the territory of if you close one eye and like squint it, your other eye is affected. Like it's hard to keep one eye wide open while really squinting the other eye. Like if you squint one, the other one's gonna squint a bit too, even if it's open. So we're going to actually, I think what we can do is literally just squint this one a bit as well. Let's see if we can't. That's kind of hard to work like this. Hold on. Everybody hold on.
You're doing great.
Just got to clear some space. Okay, and then make a new layer. Whenever I'm like teaching something, I always get my layers all messed up because I'm trying to like go fast.
Yeah. I get my layers all messed up no matter what. So teaching or not.
So I think this eye would still be open a bit. Let's actually try to get it a little closer in. You had them looking kind of like this way. And there's the hair. And then remember the rule about the eyebrows. They need to make a shape. So this eyebrow would need to kind of be also coming down.
Yeah.
And then maybe you could even add in like a little line like this.
Yeah.
I think something like this really sells the expression of like, I'm irritated with this hat. Victoria Monholland, you're AF and this is very helpful. Okay, good. I'm glad. Because I feel like this really sells the expression of irritation. And now, if we make a new layer and we cover up this eye, you'll see it still looks like irritation. Right. If we cover up the mouth, it still looks like irritation. You can cover up everything and the eye still looks like someone is squinting and like, ah. And if we cover up this side, it all matches and it all flows together. So, and we can even, you know, take this off and look at the original and do a comparison of how the expression is changed. I think the main takeaway here is that it's important to keep in mind how the eyes interact with each other. They're not two separate entities. And if you squint one side of your face, the other side's going to squint too.
Yeah, and also just, I think that's just like a good trick is like, if you cover up part of the expression, does it still read? Like everything on the face should be in service of conveying the emotion you're trying to convey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also unrelated, that the hand you drew is very good.
Yes, very nice hand.
Nice anatomy on that hand.
Like I said, the drawing itself is really good. I think a lot of your anatomy is really on point. Your facial anatomy was doing well in terms of all the placement. It's just a matter of nailing down that expression to really convey the story. And again, keep in mind sort of the way we went about it was taking the reference and breaking down the shape of this eye on the reference piece and then trying to translate that onto the eye of your character.
Yeah.
And that'll get you what you're looking for. Hope that's helpful. Now get out of here. Let's see what else we got. Actually, I'll check to see if there's any more questiones. There's a lot of talking about cartoon birds, which is appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go back and we'll do some more looky-loos here. Okay, here's one from Ev/Woodle. And I think this was the person who was asking about wrinkles. They said, this is why I was worried about wrinkles. Pretty scared of pushing expression work since planning on coloring later and don't want it to be busy. So we have, I can actually probably get this a little bigger.
Can you try and get it a little bigger?
Open the original. Well, no, that's where it is.
It's fine.
So this is the piece they were talking about, which I think is really good.
Yeah.
Whoops. What I really like about this piece is you've done such a good job with the eye shape. The shapes of the eyes. They look so nice. A lot of people get stuck in like this realm where they're like, the eye is shaped like an almond. And then all the eyes kind of look like this weird
Secret
this weird
sleepover.
thing, like the secret sleepover eye. When in reality, with like the eyelid and everything, they do have more of this like geometric, sort of natural shape, and like the way that like the sides are weighted can change sort of how the eye looks, but it's easier to break them down this way, and I think you did a really nice job of that. As far as the wrinkles go, I think in this close-up, the way you did it works really well. I think it applies a lot of like dramatic tension. I think where it fails you is in the zoom out here, because the details are going to get more smushed together. So when you're looking at more of a zoomed out version of the character, I think you would be better served simplifying the wrinkles to just 1 or 2 lines. And we can even like sort of take a look at, I know this is not a full res image too, but even it doesn't matter, because like if you're looking at it on a computer screen, like this is on like my full size computer screen, a lot of this in the face here gets busy. Whereas in the zoom in, it looks great, because then you can really focus on all those details. But down here, I think we can, just as an example, get rid of some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Just to showcase how it simplifies the figure here. Because I think we don't need all of these lines, because the expression is already sold by the shape of the eye. I like the ones in the middle here on like sort of the nose and brow ridge. We probably don't need quite as much going on up here, I would say. And again, this is obviously like, art's heavily opinion based too. I'm not saying this is the end all be all critique. I'm just saying this is what I would do. And what, like when I first look at it, the first thing that my brain says is it's a little busy around the face.
A little busy in that zoom out. There's a lot of information, a lot of new information in that zoom out that wasn't in the like the top. Like it's good storytelling to have that punch in to really get that feeling. But yeah, already that bottom one is just like a lot more readable.
Yeah, I think the clarity of it is, and we can look at the before and after here, the clarity of the expression comes through a lot more. So when your eye looks at it, you're like, oh, I see the expression, rather than, oh, I see like a lot of lines.
Can I ask you to try something?
Sure.
In that bottom one?
Yeah.
Because again, the in the top one, what's great is just like how big the eye is around that like middle bit.
Yeah.
And in the bottom one already, just because of the eyes get smaller, like there's less white space around.
Yeah, totally.
Like what would happen if you just made them dots?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, just like shrinking the pupil.
Yeah, if it's just, and again, this might not work, but I'm just curious. I want to see how.
Yeah,
it
I mean,
looks.
it's in the name of sort of experimenting. And this is going to be a little hard to showcase because my brush is so smooth. But something like this.
Yeah, and then zoom out and see if that.
Because I think it
like
does.
If that carries the expression.
Could maybe even be
through.
Slightly bigger.
Yeah.
Because you want
I just wanted to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is
visible.
correct, but I'm curious.
I think I agree that it does. Let's take a look. It does carry that sort of panicked expression a little further because there's more white space around the dot.
That was my thought.
I think I would agree with that.
I think it just, you have to think about like how much information you're conveying with each panel. And like there's only so much you can take in at once.
And a really important thing to do, and it took me so long before I started doing this regularly, is to zoom out while you're working.
Yeah.
And also work zoomed out. For instance, because I used to work like this, right? Where if I was working on this panel, I would be like this zoomed in, and I'd be doing the exact same thing. I'd be like detailing the crap out of it, because like if you're working digital, you can really get in there.
Yeah.
And then I zoom out at the end and I'm like, oh, like all of that detail is lost and now it's all kind of mushed together. So what I tend to do now is I will work, we'll just do like an example of kind of a similar type of thing to what you got going on here, is that I'll work really zoomed out and with like kind of a fat brush, just so I see like what is important here.
Yeah, what it's gonna, you get a better sense of how it'll look,
and like what the audience,
people.
what the audience will actually be capable of like viewing.
Yeah.
And this is like, not entirely the same thing, but just as an example, like this is like the sort of range that I would work at zoomed. You got like these eyebrows here. And if you do this, it will prevent you from like over detailing your piece. Because but again, on this zoom in part here, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Like that is where to have the detail, because the audience is as zoomed in as you are. So they can actually perceive the whole thing.
And having them in rapid succession, like it's a good, I don't want to say cheat, but like it's just like a good technique to like,
show the detail. And then
you're remembering that top expression, it's carrying through into the bottom expression, so that you can save yourself having to like have all those lines in that bottom expression, because you're giving your readers credit for like, oh, okay, that's the expression this person's making. That's like the level of intensity they're experiencing.
Yeah, totally. So this is like, clearly not the same character, but just an example. Because I'm not going to get in here and be like line, 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 because like it's already getting busy from my viewpoint.
Yeah.
You can maybe get away with like one of these, and then that's like about it in terms of like what's going to fit. If they're older, you could get these lines here, get sort of this thing going on with the shape. You can do a lot with shape as well. And then like the body's coming down this way and doing whatever it's doing. No. So like in the sketch phase, work like this zoomed out, and then here where you're zoomed in, you can really, like you did, get in on all the details. Be like,
I wonder what happened. I wonder what they're seeing. They're either seeing something or they just got punched really hard.
Yeah. Whatever it is, it's like not good.
Someone they care about is getting murdered or like corrupted, or they just got like hit with a blast right in their chest.
They got punched by Dragon Ball Z Piccolo.
They got punched by Dragon Ball Z Piccolo.
So yeah, this is just sort of an example of the kind of way you can work it so that you don't end up overworking in the smaller panels. Because then you also save a lot of time.
Yeah.
I hope that's helpful and really cool work. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, definitely. Like you already have a sense for visual storytelling. Like in these two panels, I'm like, I want to know more about this character and what's going on with them. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's good storytelling. All right, let's move on. We got about 10 more minutes. How would you handle closed eye expressions for blind characters? You can do expressions with closed eyes as well. I would usually go to like... You're going to focus more on mouth, eyebrows, and positioning rather than eyelids.
So if this is like, the face. And we'll just kind of... You can do things with, like Nathan said, the eyelids, you can make them like more serene, or more like this, or like this. And then the mouth can do a lot of heavy lifting. And then you can also adjust the angle of the, the closed eyes as well.
Right.
So you could take them and make them more like this, which gives it more of a intensified expression.
Yeah.
But then if you make them happy like this, they're like, yeah. And then give them like this, and they're really happy. So yeah, angle them up, angle them down. Go like, you know, straight across for like sort of a neutral, simplified, vacant sort of look.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of different ways you can play with it. I like this face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then like Dupus mentions just like looking at what the way Avatar handled Toph.
Yeah, Toph had open eyes, but
Toph had open eyes but was blind.
they did a good job in that show of like Toph was never like looking directly at anything, and the eyes were never like focused. There's sort
she
of
was a very expressive character.
Sort of a trick you can do with eyes, which involves where you move the. If a character's focused on something, the eyes will go more towards the center, like this, like they're looking at something that's sort of like out in front of them.
Right.
And then if you take those eyes and drift them to
the classic Jacob eye drift.
I don't know what, I've made like a strange little box somehow. And we put them to like this. Now all of a sudden, the eyes don't look like they're looking at anything. They're kind of looking into the middle distance. And that's kind of what they do with Toph. Toph's never looking at anything, sort of just looking at the middle distance.
Yeah.
Because she's focused on hearing. And then if you drift them even further, you end up with sort of that
wall-eyed,
the vacant character look.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, I'm just having a nice time.
Don't worry about me, guys.
We're just having fun, right? No problem. And then we bring it back in and they're like, oh, I'm like focused on something and I'm feeling something about it.
Yeah.
So placement is so huge. It makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
All right, we probably got time for like one more thing.
Well, it's your class, Jacob. You pick it.
One more thing?
Unless you want me to pick it.
Let's see what else we got here. We can pop back to the draw class, pop back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. We got some pieces in here from the Dupus.
The Dupus.
That we can take a look at to finish out. Which I think that overall they did a really nice job.
Yeah, they look pretty good.
But we'll take a look at them anyway.
It's hard when you give us stuff to critique and it's just good.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing to critique.
'Cause, yeah, there's a certain level of like.
Can you draw worse so that I can critique it? That's my critique. No, there's stuff.
There's also like, I don't know if you feel this way, Nathan, but sometimes like I see people's art and like, even though there's like stuff that could be improved on, it's at the point of goodness where I'm like, you're already gonna figure it out. Like I can tell that you're already thinking right. And like you just like your body's catching up with the thoughts process.
Yeah.
Like I know you're on the right track. So like I don't really need to like, all it is practice, you know? Like sometimes you can tell that it's a mental thing. Like the person doesn't know the right way to do it. And sometimes you're like, they definitely know the right way to do it.
They know the right way to do it. They just haven't done it enough to be like proficient.
Yes.
Yet. So it's like, okay, you already know this. I'm telling you something you already know. You just got to practice doing it more.
Totally.
Sort of thing. And sometimes I'm just like, I don't know, like there's a way I would do it, but it's not necessarily like there's a charm to this that like I think is good.
I think
in its own right.
The thing that like the only thing I noticed looking at these straight off is on this this Team Rocket one, we've got a bit of eye balance issues.
Yeah.
with like this. Let me get a color that actually you can see.
Do a little canvas flip on this guy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Okay.
I was gonna point out first that like this angle doesn't match the angle of the head, which is like this. So the eyes should follow that. And a canvas flip. Tony Hawk's canvas flip will reveal. And everyone, I know it's hard, but you got to be flipping your canvases.
Sometimes you just got to do it.
Whip. That will make it obvious that the eyes are off kilter.
Just a little.
So, and it's the kind of thing where it's, you know, it sucks to do because you flip and you're like, oh, wow, I thought I was good at art. Turns out I'm bad. But you're not bad. It's just that your brain gets accustomed to seeing it one way. So we'll do a little fixie.
We'll just fix it. You flip it and then you fix it and it's fine. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get doing it. And just be like, yeah, it's sometimes... I don't know why our brains do this. I don't know why, like, it looks fine one way. But, like, this is a thing that affects all artists. Like, I see canvas flip memes shared on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly.
And it happens at every level of art.
So it's just like, it's just something you got to do because our brains are stupid and don't know how to see things right sometimes. I don't know. It's weird.
So we'll just get sort of the eyebrow back in here. And then we'll flip it back and we'll see if if what I did is good. Because sometimes in flipping it back, you'll see even more stuff.
Right.
Just make the eye sort of a bit bigger like this. But yeah, when you flip, I try to do it every time I draw for like a speed draw.
Yeah. I did not do it for the dinosaurs, but
we need to get some of this gray.
It's okay. I try to do it and then I forget to do it, and I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah, ignore like the sharpness difference.
Yeah.
Could maybe even probably make this go up more. So yeah, you'll see like even as I'm doing this, I have to like go in and fix things.
Yeah.
Po body's perfect.
That's the process.
That's the process. Trust the
process. But
process.
it's like, again, this is such a cool. This is such a like. It's such a well, like easy to read character. You know, it's like you get the vibe from this person immediately, and so
now we flip it. What?
Oh, you different layers. Gotta flip them both. Gotta do merge and flip.
Yeah. I'm gonna duplicate them first because I want to be able to go back and show.
Because I think that is what you were talking about before, about just like you have the right idea, like you know how to make a cool looking character.
Looking
like
nicer.
This is a very expressive face and pose. It's just about like practicing the little bits.
Absolutely.
To make sure everything looks right.
Yeah, and that's just a volume of practice thing, like we said.
Yeah.
Your mind's in the right place, but you can see looking at it now, if we
yeah.
And then let's take the original and flip it. Flip it. Move it. Yeah, now that you can see both, it becomes like very obvious. Obviously I did the eyebrow differently because I forgot what your original one looked like, but we can change it and make the eyebrows work too.
Yeah, because the eyebrows are doing the thing.
Yeah, the eyebrows are doing the thing. I was happy to see that.
But yeah, you can have the little dreams works. Dreams works.
We will need to adjust the eyebrows a bit because of the new placement of the eye, though, because otherwise they won't be able to do the thing. And they simply must do the thing.
They have to do the thing.
So we can get it like
like
this.
Yeah.
And then go like this. This type of thing.
It's just like, I don't know. I love doing these Drawclass streams because it's just cool to see so many people who are like interested in improving.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like it's not an easy thing to do, to improve any skill.
And you have to
And
make
so-
yourself vulnerable
Yeah,
in order to like show your stuff.
like thank you to everyone who is willing to put their stuff on display, for the benefit of everyone. To
Yeah,
learn.
absolutely.
It's awesome. It's very cool of you to do.
And the dupe has said canvas flipping is my weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough. Like there was
You
a
got- you
long
just gotta
time
do
where
it.
I just wouldn't do it because I knew it
Yeah.
would look bad and I was like scared.
You just got to do it.
For what
You-
it's
you
worth,
just,
though.
You just got your canvas flipped in front of a bunch of people, though. So
Yeah,
you
it'll
know?
it'll never be worse than that.
And you're still here. You're okay.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
And also like these two pieces, like this one here and this one down here, I don't see any of those.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing obvious that jumps out to me that's like if I flipped this would really poke out.
Yeah.
So great work. And I really love this expression.
Yeah.
You got the thing with the eyes focusing correctly by being like slightly in. The eyebrows do the thing. Make a new layer. The eyebrows do the thing where they would connect like this. And you got a good circle mouth, which I always like. And then this one
Yeah, I
down
guess
here.
My only note for the mouth would be to like maybe think about the teeth inside the mouth,
Yeah.
because like you kind of have the curve on the bottom teeth, but I think the top teeth might also curve in.
Yeah,
Like-
and there'd be a bit more of them
Yeah,
showing, I would guess, and then you could
and you could curve them in.
something
Yeah,
like that.
that's my only thought on that one.
Yeah, great work, Dupus. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much.
And thank you everyone else for sharing and watching and all that stuff. This was a lot of fun. I hope that you learned something from this, and take the expression practice from the beginning of the stream. Try it for yourself. Break down a lot of expressions you find online. Try moving the pieces around to see how it changes things, and you'll be surprised at how the more you do it, the more expressions you have in your arsenal to just bust out whenever you need them. And that's what it's all about. It's about building your mental arsenal of things. And the more things you have in it that you can execute on regularly, the more reliable of an artist you will be in all circumstances.
Yeah, and you get that good juice in your brain,
You get the good juice in your brain.
the fresh juice.
That good fresh juice. Because if you don't look up new things, your brain's full of old juice.
Yeah, you got to replace your juice.
Yeah, replace your old juice with fresh juice. Thanks everyone, and thank you again for contributing to the Patreon at the Drawclass level.
Yeah.
It's incredibly kind of you to support us like that, and it means the world to us. And for people watching this after the fact, if you have the extra cash and want to catch these when they happen and be able to participate in them, you can also contribute to our Patreon at the Drawclass level, and then you can catch these streams live.
Yeah, or you can contribute at a lower level to get in the Discord. We announce what the draw class is going to be earlier in the month, and then if you're like, ooh, I really want to catch that one live, I want to get like my art critiqued on that one.
Yeah.
You can bump up for that month, bump back down, stay there. Whatever fits your budget, but consider it.
Yeah, totally. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time.
And we're sorry.
We're sorry.